Hey guys, I'm Dan Silva, and I'm sitting here with Eric Gallichio, and we're here to talk to you about the popular, rapid growing technology in which we call Netflix. So, Eric, what was your initial thought about Netflix?
So I was timid with Netflix at first. So I'm a little bit older, so I actually saw the transition of Netflix actually at being as a postal service delivery kind of system where you would go online, you would type in like the certain movie you're looking for, and then 2 or 3 days later it would show up in the mail. So I was like really timid. I didn't know exactly what they were trying to do. I would consider myself late to the streaming service. I thought it was really similar to say like Cox on Demand. I don't know if you have Cox Communications or anything.
I do.
So I really thought it was really similar to that. But it wasn't until I started seeing the curation. I mentioned this. I did a podcast. I mentioned the curation is what really separated it for me and really made it stand out to me. So Netflix, it took me a couple years. I would say I was a late bloomer in all of it, or a late adapter, as we would call it in the communication realm, towards Netflix. But as it's grown on me, I've really come to love it. I think a lot of people have too, and I'm excited to see the future and where it goes.
Would you say it is more directed towards, or more, let's say, reaching out towards younger generations?
So yeah, totally. I think Netflix built its core fan base built on the younger generations because they were more adapt with technology. Technology is more sustainable for users of our generation to pick up and start learning, clicking buttons, trying to figure out how to maneuver through the system.
Right.
But as time has gone on, and I think I actually recently saw this with my grandmother. I got my grandmother onto a show called Designated Survivor on Netflix. Great show if you haven't seen it. Yeah, and she absolutely loved it. And she's probably in her late 70s or something like that, but she was very timid to use Netflix before I had actually shown her how to do it. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to work this. How do I turn this on? So I simply told her to pick up the remote, press the record button on the remote, and say, watch Netflix. And ever since then, she's been hooked. And I could see that growing over the years. I think it'll be more popular to the older generations as cord cutting becomes more prevalent.
So obviously you watch Netflix. Mm-hmm. So what originals, if any, have you watched?
Obviously, The Irishman came out recently. Everyone's buzzing about The Irishman. Yeah. I want to actually talk a little bit more about the Netflix originals because I was not a big fan of Netflix originals. I was kind of late to it, and because the actors, they weren't prevalent actors. So I would turn it on and be like, who is this? I don't want to watch this person. Yeah. So as Netflix has started to grow, I think in the last 2 years, with more prominent actors actually trusting the company to say, you know what, I trust Netflix to develop a solid product that will be exposed to a nationwide audience. I think that has gained a lot of people's viewership, and I think it will only continue to grow as Netflix keeps to bring in more prominent actors, as we saw with The Irishman recently.
Right. So obviously Netflix does have a lot of viewers and a lot of people love Netflix.
Yeah.
I, for one, love it.
Yeah.
If there was something about Netflix that you could change, what would it be?
Okay, so I mentioned earlier the curation, how that initially drew me into it. But as I've started to use Netflix more and more, the curation is so niche now, it's not actually showing me the whole catalog. So there are things that maybe, yes, I'm very interested in, but I'm missing certain things now. I'm missing certain things because they're trying to hit me with the niche market. And it's like, someone will come out to me, hey, did you see that new music documentary on Netflix? It's like, dude, I love Netflix. Or excuse me, I love music documentaries. But I watch so many crime and thrillers, it seems like it's targeting me specifically for those, and it's not giving me their full catalog, their full library. So as we move forward, I think the curation is great, but I think you need to get a bigger sense of what else is on Netflix for me to be an avid viewer more often.
Awesome. And I just want to end by saying, where do you see Netflix in the future?
So I see Netflix taking over the movie industry as a whole. I mean, you'll never be able to shut down Warner Brothers. You'll never be able to shut down Universal.
Right.
But I see Netflix becoming it. Honestly, I had mentioned this also in the podcast. We thought of this. It was a great idea. The Netflix Movie Awards of the Year.
Right.
So I could see them starting to make like that MTV comparison where they start putting out like the Netflix Best Originals, the Netflix Best Movie of the Year, the most streamed movie of the year. And I could see that really growing into something very popular, something that will succeed very well. I'm excited to see the future as viewership goes up. Older generations, like we had mentioned, will start listening to it more.
Right.
Sky's the limit for Netflix.
Awesome. As it should.